In October 1935, one of the last independent nations in Africa was invaded by one of Europe's great powers. The war that followed lasted less than a year, but its consequences reshaped the entire 20th century. Italy's invasion of Ethiopia was not just a colonial war. It was the moment the international system collapsed. Chemical weapons were used against civilians. Hospitals were bombed. International law was ignored. And the world watched and did nothing. By the 1930s, Ethiopia stood alone. While nearly all of Africa had been colonized, Ethiopia remained independent, a symbol of African sovereignty. In 1896, Ethiopian forces had defeated Italy at the Battle of Adwa, one of the most humiliating defeats suffered by a European empire in the colonial era. For Italians, Adwa was not forgotten. For 40 years, it remained an open wound. For Ethiopia, it became a source of pride and a warning. Under Emperor Haile Selassie, the country pursued cautious modernization, roads, schools, diplomacy. Ethiopia joined the League of Nations in 1923, believing collective security would protect its independence. That belief would prove tragic. Italy after World War I was unstable. Though technically on the winning side, Italians felt betrayed by the peace settlement. Economic hardship, political violence, and wounded national pride dominated the 1920s. In 1922, Benito Mussolini seized power. His vision was simple. Italy would become a new Roman Empire. Colonies meant prestige. Prestige meant power. Ethiopia, independent, weakly armed, and historically humiliating, became the target. By 1934, Italian forces were massing in Eritrea and Somaliland. The invasion was only a matter of time. On October 3, 1935, Italian troops crossed into Ethiopian territory. The imbalance was overwhelming. Italy deployed over 400,000 soldiers, tanks, artillery, and aircraft. Ethiopia relied largely on infantry, many armed with rifles decades old, yet resistance was fierce. Ethiopian forces fought across mountains, deserts, and valleys, but modern warfare had arrived, and Ethiopia had no defense against what came next. By December 1935, Italian commanders faced stubborn resistance. Mussolini authorized a crime: mustard gas, dropped from aircraft, sprayed over rivers, released on villages and fleeing civilians. The gas burned skin, blinded eyes, and poisoned water supplies. Entire regions were rendered uninhabitable. Red Cross tents were bombed, despite their clear markings. Doctors and nurses were killed. International law prohibited chemical weapons. Italy had signed those treaties. They were ignored. This was not warfare. It was extermination. News of chemical attacks spread quickly. The League of Nations investigated. They confirmed the crimes, but action never came. Sanctions were imposed, weak ones. Oil was excluded. The Suez Canal remained open. Britain and France feared pushing Mussolini toward Hitler. Appeasement mattered more than justice. The League of Nations, created to prevent war, proved powerless. The lesson was clear. If aggression was profitable, it would be repeated. By May 1936, Italian forces approached Addis Ababa. Haile Selassie went into exile. On June 30th, he stood before the League of Nations in Geneva. His speech shook the world. It is us today. It will be you tomorrow. Few listened. Italy annexed Ethiopia, declaring a new empire. Mussolini celebrated. Europe looked away. Italian rule was brutal. Executions were common. Villages were destroyed. In 1937, after an assassination attempt on the Italian governor, thousands of civilians were massacred in Addis Ababa. Resistance never stopped, but the cost was devastating. The invasion of Ethiopia sent a message. International law had limits. Collective security was an illusion. Hitler took note. Within 3 years, Austria was annexed. Czechoslovakia dismantled. Poland invaded. World War II followed. The road to global war did not begin in Europe. It began in Africa, when the world chose silence. The Italo-Ethiopian War is often forgotten, but its lesson remains. When aggression goes unpunished, it multiplies. Ethiopia survived. Its independence was restored in 1941, but the cost revealed a truth the world would soon learn again. Peace without enforcement is only a pause between wars. Thank you for listening. Kindly like and subscribe.